First things first. What's your name?
My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I've been...
Wake? Where did you come from?
The idea was to do Alan Wake 2 pretty soon after first one, but, things don't always go as they're, planned. But in hindsight, looking at it now, it's like, it feels like this was the right way to do it. It needed that 13 years to be the kind of special game that it is. It would have been maybe a special game at that point as well, but it would have been a very different kind of game. So I'm looking at it now, I'm really happy that it happened now. At some point, it wasn't the plan to do as much. I might be wrong on this. I'm not, I don't know exactly how it went, but I don't think it was the plan to have that much live action in the beginning. It was more of cinematics, I think. But then they made these choices, and I think it works just brilliantly. I mean, I enjoy a lot doing motion capture, doing performance capture, but there is so many technical limitations there, and so it's very demanding, sort of. Well, I love the part that you have to use your imagination a lot doing motion capture, because there's nothing there. It's like an empty studio. You just have tapes on the floor and a couple of pipes and that kind of stuff. And I like that. It's a great challenge. But then being able to step on set and having all the props there, everything, doing that live action, having the actual writer's room, suddenly stepping in there and seeing that, before only seeing it on the computer screen, and then suddenly stepping in and it's all there. Right, in the right size and everything, and the hotel room, all that, it was just fantastic. I loved every minute of it. I've known Matt for such a long time, and he's a dear friend of mine as well. For live action, obviously, I would do the whole thing, through and through, and then Matt would come in and do the dubbing for Alan Wake. But for the in-game stuff, the cinematics, I would first do the motion capture, so the body part, and I would do the lines and everything, and they would record them, and then Matt would get that material, of course doing his own version of it, bringing his thoughts and ideas into it. And then later on I would go to the performance capture booth, so the face part, which is Remedy does it separately, so they do the body first and then the face later. So I would do the scenes again, having learned the lines the way Matt does them, listening to hours and hours of those tapes of Matt doing the voiceover lines, and just matching the acting with his lines, with all the little breaths and pauses and stutters and everything, which is pretty complicated stuff. And at the same time matching that face acting to my own body acting, which was done maybe a couple months before. So that was sometimes very sort of mind-blowing in that way, that it was really, really hard and demanding work. But that was also something that I enjoyed the challenge so much.
In this temple of shadow and mist, there's a window in the floor and a door in the ceiling.
Well, that was really exciting, because I kind of got to create this new character, because he was very different from Thomas Zane in the first game. From Sam and Anssi, I got these photos of reference photos of Jim Morrison, for example. I remember was one of them, and 60s, 70s rock stars and that kind of. We would try different things, and then we had a couple of rehearsal days that we would try to just improvise and try to find the character, what he's like. And my idea was that he had to be sort of very much a contrast to who Alan Wake is. So I would think what are the obvious qualities and characteristics of Alan Wake, and then sort of go to the opposite direction.
Handsome devil. The diver was a beloved character I played in one of my films. I'm a filmmaker, a celebrated auteur.
I need answers. Why is Return so important? What?
Alan, you always get worked up like this. Come on, I'll fix you a drink.
Alan is pretty stiff, so Zane would be very relaxed, very sort of, fluid in his moves, and Alan is kind of very sort of masculine, I think, and so I thought Zane would be more very in touch with his feminine side as well, and sort of just free. Alan is captured. He's a prisoner of the dark place, but Zane is just free. He can do anything. He can, love anyone, and he can be just out there and do whatever. And he's a dangerous character at the same time, because you never know what he's going to do next, which is always, that kind of character is very exciting for an actor. I think Sam actually finished the scripts only after that rehearsal day. So we sort of, the three of us sort of together found that character who Tom Zane is in this story, in this game, and then he wrote the final version of those scenes that Alan and Zane have together, and for obvious reasons, beard reasons, we had to do all the Alan Wake parts first, and then midday one day after lunch we shaved off my beard, and then I put the Zane's leather pants on, and we would do all the Zane parts for the same scenes. But as I explained, they're very different kind of characters, and Zane is the one who's sort of he's more active. He's the one leading the scenes. Alan is more sort of passive. He's just confused. He has this constant state of confusion and what the fuckness. He's always like, doesn't know what's going on, trying to figure things out, but very confused. And then doing sort of the more passive character first meant that I had to kind of already act in my head what Zane would do, because he would be leading the scenes. We had a stand-in actor there about the same height as me who would, be there, but I would always tell him not to sort of bring too much character in it, because I wanted to keep that to myself, just deciding all the choices that Zane would do and everything. So
they're all yours. If anyone asks, you were never here.
Zane freaks out from what he sees on the TV, and he goes down, drops down, and then he escapes from the room on all fours. And that was something that I decided while acting Wake, and I did it with my eyes, like doing him dropping down and like seeing that, and sort of doing this trap for myself, because I had to go on my knees so many times a couple of days later, and across the room, because I did like him dropping on his knees and then going outside as Wake first. So that kinds of things happened that I sort of had to decide things for Zane while still acting as Wake. Just seeing him in my eyes, sort of what he would do in this instant.
Scratch was still here. He hadn't escaped the dark place yet. He was scratching my edits out of return.
For Wake, there were a lot of moments because he really is in the dark place, and I sort of had to be. I can't just pull a face, like just throw in an expression there. You just have to get into the right mood, and him being in that of a mood for such a big part of time, that was sometimes pretty heavy. Being on set a lot alone. And there wasn't no other actor for a large part of the shoots, just being there by myself, and sort of you can't react to something. So I had to sort of invent and imagine those things a lot in my head, and I had to go to pretty dark places to get to the right mood. So those were memorable moments, but pretty tough,
Alan?
Saga, I finished it. The ending we talked about.
I have the clicker and the bullet of light. Let's do this.
Melanie's so great, and she does an exceptionally, fabulous job on the game. So that was lovely. And it, like I said, in video game acting, there's a lot of acting by yourself. So just having a scene partner, an actual other actor on set, and having that connection and getting to act and react with someone is very special. And I think we got along really well with Melanie as well. So it was lovely acting with her. I think it was a great choice bringing Saga Anderson as the other protagonist, and it's so well written character as well. So it's really, I think that worked really well, and I'm really glad that was the choice that Remedy made.
What the hell?
From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury.
And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say.
It's been so nice to follow that, seeing that people are really enjoying it. Of course, we never thought about that while doing it, like doing the musical parts. We were just, focused on that at the time. But I remember Sam, when he first mentioned that there's a musical part, I was like, really? But I was intrigued right away. I loved it. And I would ask him, like, constantly keep asking, when are we gonna do the musical part? Where is it? I'm waiting for the musical part. And afterwards I heard that there were like moments that it almost, got cut off from the game, but I'm so glad that it didn't, and it stayed in, and we got to do it, and now, people are really loving that, so. We had this great choreographer called Sofia Ruja, who a Finnish choreographer who did the choreography for the dance, and we just rehearsed it a few times, and I think both Sam and me, we were rehearsing at home by ourselves a lot, because we're not dancers, so we need to put in the work to get it right. And then we had professional dancers, the dark dressed dancers. They were professionals, so that was great. They would help us through it, and Sophia, the choreographer, was there. I guess it was just practicing quite a lot and just shooting it, and so many times. I remember one part that was surprisingly difficult for me. I had been doing the dance routine through so many times already that day, but once we had this part where I had the gun and the flashlight in hand, and suddenly, I don't know what happened, it really messed with my head, because the choreography became really difficult. Suddenly I would do the same thing, but just having those like items in my hand, those props, I couldn't do it. It took like many takes to get it right. That was like really messing with my head, but we got it right finally, and there are probably somewhere there are many versions of the dance that are pretty bad, but hopefully they stay somewhere people never see them.